What's happening, GoCo? On this week's episode, we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the release of the Wii U by sharing our favorite memories of the console, as well as the thoughts from the community. You'll also finally get to hear Zach's impressions of Sonic Frontiers, and Alyssa played a relaxing game on PC called A Little to the Left. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. It is Tuesday, November 14th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends. First off, a guy who might be coming back to Facebook since Twitter may not exist in the near future, Mr. Zach Parkerson.
I can't come back to something I've never been to.
You've never been on Facebook?
Never had a Facebook.
I did not know that.
It's quite something I'm proud of.
I can tell.
At this point, like it's so much more impressive to have never been on there at all. You know, I can't cave now. So if Twitter dies, see you guys later, I guess.
Yeah, not going over to Insta or anything like that.
No, I deleted my Instagram. I have a TikTok account just so I can watch videos people send me, but I don't go on there.
Gotcha.
Twitter's my only social vice.
Impressive, sir.
Also
joining us, the TikTok queen herself, Miss Alyssa White. How you doing, Alyssa?
I'm doing better now that I can see both of your handsome faces, and I wish I was the queen of TikTok.
Sure, right.
Also, you could watch my videos, Zach. You could watch my videos.
Yeah, okay.
Alyssa, whenever I go on TikTok, you were the only friend I have that I get alerts for whatever reason. And so, I go, oh, I got alerts. Somebody is like messaging me or connecting with me. No, it's Alyssa with,
I'm doing it telepathically.
Manga characters over her head recycling, and which one is she like? And I was like, oh, okay. There we go.
Like, Scott, you gotta watch my video.
Apparently, yeah. I do watch them, though.
She's such a Tanjiro, you know?
I did what?
You said you're such a Tanjiro, you know?
Oh, Demon Slayer.
Yeah. I read that.
Yeah, I'm lost. It went right over my head. But let's get into something that is not over my head and the games that we've been catching up on. Zach, you've been gone for quite a while. I am dying to know your thoughts about Sonic Frontiers. And before you answer that, did you listen to our discussion last week about Sonic Frontiers?
I did, yes. You made an incredibly inflammatory comment, of course. That's what you're referring to, saying that they finally made Sonic fun by turning into a Mario game?
Yes.
I think we might have hurt Kevin's heart, by the way.
We did.
Well, when he said that, I was furious. And then he said...
we hurt Zach's heart.
He was like, tell me how it's not, or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I guess it is kind of like a Mario game.
Thank you.
But it turns out the key to making Mario fun was to have Sonic in it.
There you go. Okay, you can flip it around. Now Kevin will be happy. They made Mario fun by letting you run fast.
Absolutely. Yeah, this game, dude, this game is incredible.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah,
I'm getting FOMO now.
I knew I was going to like it, but dude, it's just so much fun. Yeah, those giant open zones and obviously running around fast is just so fun, but it feels like every 3 steps I take, there's something cool to do.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like, ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah,
ooh,
yeah. It's got that hook into me of like, I'll just do one more thing. I'll just do one more thing before I go to bed.
Which is not a thing that I would have expected from a Sonic game.
No, neither would I, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, it's so fun, like, because you have those almost like the towers that reveal the map or whatever, or like these different little kind of puzzles that are always fun.
And they're all kind of clever.
Yeah, they're simple but they're clever. And then you have all these just random platforms where you'll find a spring in the middle of the forest, and you never know, like, well, where's this going to take me? And all of a sudden you're flying 60 feet over the map or whatever, grinding on rails, and you gotta make sure you don't mess up, or else you gotta go all the way back. It's a lot of fun.
And it doesn't punish you if you do fall like too much. You just kind of start over, like right where you left off, and just try it again.
Okay, that's good for people like me who suck at these kind of games.
Well, it's a small thing, but it's so nice that there's no fall damage in the game too.
That too, yeah.
So you don't have to worry about running too fast.
Yeah, you just go and just see what happens. It just lets you. It lets you fail without punishing you for trying stuff.
Right, and you said this last week, but you were talking about how you get up there and you just get like a reward. It's just like here's a token so you can talk to Amy, but you don't really care that it's a boring reward because it was so fun to get there.
Yeah.
So
exactly how I feel about it.
The act
obviously you just said that.
Yes, the act of doing is so fun. And then what's really surprised me, I think, more than anything, is the enemy variety.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have those flying guys with the ribbons where you have to run on them super fast while dodging bullets. To
the squids.
Squids basically run up their back, and then in the second area, there's this enemy that you have to grind on these rails. I don't know if you've gotten to the second island yet, Scott.
I haven't. I played it the first day, and then I'm trying to complete Ragnarok before moving back to Sonic.
But there's like this enemy that's like a giant machine where you have to like grind on these rails that are around his feet. But you basically have to like almost paint it blue. So you have to like do kind of have to like paint every inch of the rail, but you also have to dodge his attacks by jumping in between 3 different rails in order to like
get
through
a Hubert game.
Yeah, it's just so clever. There's always something to do, or there's an enemy in the second area that you can only beat by butt stomping them, or there's one enemy in the desert region that it almost like turns into was it like a bullet hell shooter for half a second.
Really?
Like you're Sonic flying, you and the enemy get sucked into the sky, and you're both like skydiving. You have to dodge his bullets and attack him over and over again.
That sounds rad.
There's just I never know what to expect. It's so much fun. And then the key to the more linear traditional Sonic levels that you can teleport into, what makes them work is that they're all like a minute or 2 long. So you just get in there, you do your challenge. If you want, you can do all the challenges, but it's just like this quick hit of traditional Sonic, and that's usually where the cool music lives.
Yeah, and I think you and I talked about this offline beforehand, before you started playing it, how I love the serene music in the zones, and I didn't think I would because it's Sonic, right? But I feel like if you had that high energy music going all the time, it would make it seem not special when you got to those traditional Sonic levels. And
that's what that fool CB was saying last week, that he wanted the traditional Sonic, what I call butt rock music, the whole way. Just, he wants that the whole time. But now what makes it cool is like when you get into the boss fight of the first island, and it's got this super dumb metal, rock track playing. It feels freaking awesome because you just got done with serene music for the last 3 or 4 hours.
Right. It feels like a reward or a payoff for all that.
Yeah, it highlights things. It's cool, man. I can't say
enough. And if it had butt rock music going for the entire thing, then that moment wouldn't feel awesome.
Exactly. Or it wouldn't feel cool when you're in that linear level and it's kind of got that more high speed music, so you kind of want to go faster, as it were. I also love those levels. I just feel like they're so much more expertly crafted and designed from a level design perspective than I've come off of the original Sonic, so obviously it's going to be better designed than the original. But I think it's even better than the ones in Sonic Generations, which feel way more complex. And again, I'm only in the first zone, so I don't know how complex they get in the later ones. But I feel like, even though I didn't get all of the achievements or whatever those coins you get for each one, for all the rings and all the red coins and the speed and all that kind of stuff, I always felt like I got 4 out of the 5 of the coins. You know what I mean? Whereas like in Generations, I would never even see them. But like in this, I saw them on the way. I just missed it. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, I totally agree. I normally don't bother with the red coins in Sonic games, but these ones are pretty easy. So I'm doing every challenge on every level so far.
Gotcha.
Going for 100%. And then the story is kind of quieter this time than usual Sonic games. But it's I'm intrigued by this lady running the island. Sonic's voice really kind of jars me. He's so deep.
Which is weird because I looked it up on IMDb and it shows Roger Craig Smith.
Yeah, it's definitely Roger Craig Smith, who's done Sonic for like 10 years now. But I feel like they almost told him like, go gravelly, go make this kind of a mature Sonic or something, because he sounds old.
Now I need to look him on YouTube. I need to hear the Sonic voice.
No, you just need to play the game.
I do.
Alyssa.
Oh, yeah.
You really do need to play this.
You guys are giving me bleh, I can't even speak. You guys are giving me major FOMO right now.
That's so much fun.
The comment, the big complaint I see, right, about like how dumb the levels look because of all the rails and stuff in the sky. I just have to reiterate, what did you think was going to happen in a Sonic game?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's kind of
In
expected.
an open world Sonic game.
Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to. I want nonsense rails in the sky, and then the the fast travel system. How it's just just giant rails that connect one challenge post to the next or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What a brilliant!
I haven't got that far yet.
Brilliant fast travel system for a Sonic game.
Nice. Can I go back to what you're talking about the story? I know you said the story, is kind of dumb early on. I can't speak to it because again, I'm only in the first zone. But Kevin says that the story gets really, really cool.
Yeah,
like
I'm not saying it's dumb. It's just in the background right now.
Right. But from what I've read, I've actually read or listened too much about it. So I'll be vague, but you actually learn some interesting things that I was surprised was not explained in previous Sonic games leading up to this one. So something that they're doing is actually really cool. I think you've got some really interesting stuff coming. Well, we all do, but
does it have to do with does it have to do with the Chaos Emeralds or something?
It does.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
it seems like they're leaning that way.
Well, and I was confused. I didn't know how long the game was when I started it, and I've got like 6 of the 7 Chaos Emeralds in the first zone. I was like, there's no, because isn't it like a thing with Sonic games that there's 7 and that's just it?
Right, and it's usually like Sonic Adventure 2 is like all about getting them or whatever.
Right. So I'm like, I've got 6 of the 7 Chaos Emeralds. I've been playing this for like 3 or 4 hours. There's no way this game is over, right? And
right.
Turns out there's 5 zones, not just the one. So thank goodness for
that. Which I like. I like that it's open zones, not open world.
Mm-hmm.
Because it feels like I can kind of conquer an area before moving on.
This is, I would be if I had more time and I weren't and I didn't jump from game to game as quickly as I do. I feel like I would be 100% in this game because it does the map thing where you release the fog of war and then you can just go check things off the map and figure it out, and it's just my kind of game on so many levels. And I can't believe I'm saying that about a Sonic game. The
sound effects are so pleasing.
Yes.
I know it's like such a weird small thing, but it's almost like the Wii sound effects. Like it's just pleasing to hear. Mm-hmm. So it makes me want to reveal the map and stuff.
Are you having any issues with the controls? Like we talked about some of the things last week about how it's not perfect. But
the wall running is disastrous.
Thank you. I'm glad
like
I'm not the only one.
A total disaster. It's weird because like the camera will sometimes lock into a direction, or it'll let you free look right when you're wall running.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like sometimes I press up on the analog stick and he goes left. Sometimes he'll go up depending on what the camera decided to do. There was one wall run where I was pressing up and he was going down.
Oh no!
So like
it changed perspective, and the camera was now above him, and so now up is down.
Yeah, it's infuriating.
You had inverted controls. That's what happened.
Yeah, I messed myself up. And then another weird thing is when I was fighting the first major boss, who used like the Chaos Emeralds against or whatever, the camera, like my camera set to inverted. It reverted to default, even though it was checked to inverted on the camera. So it made the boss much more difficult. I even reset, and it still was that way. So I don't know if it's some kind of bug on PS5, maybe with the camera inversion.
That is a full point loss for me right there. I'm going to tell you,
it was infuriating.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the wall running is because even if you try to do a full sprint where he just actually runs on the wall, then he's moving kind of too fast to handle any curves or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so wall running. Not a good time.
I agree. That was my biggest complaint. And then, did you know, I don't know if you remember from the conversation last week too, but like when there's no audio dialogue and it's just text and they don't say who is talking, it drives me crazy.
That's a bewildering choice.
Yeah, that seems like a weird design choice to not delineate who is speaking.
Yeah, it only really happens for those Coco leaders, because the little dude you collect or whatever.
Right.
But it's just bizarre. Why? How?
The conversation doesn't matter, but still, it's
basically just like, "Hey, you found my buddies. You want to level up?"
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is only my speed. I don't want to upgrade my ring capacity.
Yeah, I was evening it out because I'm a weirdo like that.
But so when you get a full ring meter, you get to go super speed. But doesn't it make it harder then if you have a higher ring capacity?
But it's so easy to get coins, or rings, rather, because all you got to do is just stand in a circle and usually I can't remember what that thing is called.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, so I mean, there's definitely some minor quibbles, but dude, I can't stop playing the game. I can't put it down. It's keeping me up at night.
I feel like this is gonna be in my list somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I'm shocked that I'm saying that because I did not expect to like it as much as I did. But right, Sonic Frontiers, I'm so glad you were enjoying it, man. I started it and I was thinking to myself, Zach is gonna freaking love this game. And I was right for once.
I freaking love it. I got my Sonic Adventures 2 shoes that I got from being a Sonic newsletter subscriber.
Oh,
so I'm looking the right part. They put out some Monster Hunter DLC, so you can run around in Monster Hunter armor right now as Sonic.
Oh, because that makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe you could hunt Sonic in Monster Hunter right now. Who knows?
Oh, wow. That got dark quick.
These collaborations, they're happening all over the place now.
Anything else you've been catching up on?
I finally did it, Scott. I ran out of excuses.
The gas. Or the side.
Vampire Survivors, which has just been the talk of the gaming town all year long.
All right. And I oversold it, didn't I?
Comes a Game Pass. It's on I have no reason not to play it on Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after I got past, I assume it must be poorly optimized for the original Xbox One, my little rinky-dink console in the next room.
Yeah.
Because it takes, when you boot up a game, right, it has a little splash screen on Xbox.
Right.
It takes 5+ minutes from that screen to get into the game.
What?
Yeah. It's very bizarre.
Especially for a game that takes, I don't know, about 45 seconds to download.
Right. A game that could also run on my calculator, I presume.
Right.
Yeah. It's mostly just poorly optimized. But, I booted up Vampire Survivors. I played the first match. I'm walking around, he's doing the auto whip attack thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, what the hell is Scott talking about? and I play a little longer and I'm like, oh, I see. So you upgrade, you pick your skills. Okay. And then I die like 2.5 minutes in. And I'm like, what is Scott? This is the game he's freaking out about? But then I get back in there, right? And then I have a better run where I upgraded my whip right away. So now I'm attacking in both directions. I got there's holy water that's just randomly bombing onto the screen. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then you kind of get more and more upgrades. I'm like, dude, this game is awesome. And then
thank God.
2 hours later, I'm still playing Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
Because you get to the end of a run, 8-10 minutes or whatever it is, and your immediate thought is like, well, I should do one more, see how far I can get.
Yeah.
Dude, this game
because
is awesome.
they parse out the money that you get to do some upgrades so well that you can't overwhelmingly spend in one category. You really have to space it out.
Right, for the permanent upgrades, and some of them are so expensive too. Some of them are 5,000 coins or whatever. But it's dude. I mean, it's such a simple game, and just the weird act of the game auto attacks, right? So your primary function is just to dodge the enemy,
right?
And I don't know why, but that just changes things.
Oh, so you don't even have to attack?
No, all you do is you move the stick. That's all you do. It auto attacks for you.
Which is why I theorized before, but I really am quite certain now this game would be awesome on mobile. Playing this on lunch break at work or something like that.
Yes. I will say that I downloaded a Vampire Survivors clone. Actually, Brian Regals recommended it to me in our community, and I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head. Grim Knight Heroes, which, I mean, there's all kinds of clones out right now. Ever since Vampire Survivors took off, it's just everywhere. And I cannot play it on mobile on a phone as easily. But, if this doesn't come to Switch, I'll be shocked. Is it on Switch? Right. It's not Switch yet.
No, I think it's just Xbox right now. I think they
they
locked it down.
But I mean, this is what I have used my Steam Deck more than anything else. I have a friend who has a friend that calls his Steam Deck his Vampire Survivors machine. That's just what he uses it for.
Most expensive way to play a game that, again,
that costs $4.
Yeah.
Right.
So here's the thing, Zach. Is that your full experience with the game? Is that what you've seen and done so far?
I think the longest I've lasted was 11 or 12 minutes, and the screen got so overwhelmed with these skeleton dudes that I was
Mhm.
like, am I supposed to die here? Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to try this.
So here's the thing, Zach. You haven't even experienced what makes that game so awesome yet.
There's more to it than this?
Dude, there's so much more to it that you haven't discovered yet or experienced that I borderline want to just like tell you, but I kind of want you to like discover it for yourself because the game does not outright tell you. It's kind of a self-discovery thing.
Should I be like trying to go a specific direction?
Let's see. You're on the first stage. You're only talking first stage, right?
There are stages?
Yeah. There's like 5 different stages.
What do you mean by stages?
Like you're in the grassy area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can go in different directions, and later on you will find that there are things that can be found on the map. Later on you will actually get a map that will point out where things are, so you can actually head right towards those places if you want to. That's one thing, but that's not even what I'm talking about.
What is this game, dude? I thought it was just like an arcade style game that people couldn't put down.
It is, but there's so much more, and they keep adding to this game and adding and adding and adding. So you don't really know how to use the weapons yet, I assume. Yes.
No, I guess not. All right.
Okay, so I'm trying to decide if I want to like tell you off air or whatever, because there is some things about the weapons system that you have yet to discover that make the game freaking cool as hell. That just it's great.
All right, I'm intrigued.
But I don't know. Have you played it, Alyssa?
I have not. I finally got it on my Xbox. It took forever just to get it downloaded because Game Pass is being weird. But it's on there now, so I have no excuse. I gotta start it up soon.
Well, let me ask you that. I'll kind of be vague. Have you maxed out a weapon? Have you like upgraded a weapon to max level yet?
I have not. No.
Okay. Next time you play, try to do that.
Okay.
And see if what I'm talking about naturally happens after that, because that's not all you have to do, but that's a place to start. Now, and I don't mean focus just on that, because you'll eventually, you'll eventually get there if you pick a certain path. It becomes a risk-reward system in what you choose.
Fascinating. This makes more sense because I know Stephanie Sterling is doing writing for the game, and then I was playing and I was like, where? What? Like for the item descriptions? Like why would you need to hire somebody for that?
I mean, there is some writing, but it's very minor. I'm not like seeing. Okay. There's no dialogue. There's no.
Right. I'm just surprised there's more to the game that I've seen, I guess.
There's more to the game that I feel like I haven't even seen. Just to give you an idea, I started playing this on Xbox as well. I've been playing it on Steam, but since I like achievements, I thought, why not just play it on Xbox and get the bigger screen and just kind of have
it's like 100 achievements or something?
140 achievements.
Oh, wow.
And a lot, like my very first run, I got 14 achievements on my first time playing.
Oh,
Granted,
wow.
there were like 5 points apiece. But like every little thing that you have an achievement for in Vampire Survivors, which is a lot, is an achievement in Xbox as well. And man, we either need to talk off air or you just need to keep playing some more, because you have a lot of surprises coming. And then once you realize the formula, you're just going to have that one more run mentality over and over and over again, and it just keeps going. And Alyssa, I need you to play it too.
I will. I promised I would.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to talk off mic, man, because I'm too intrigued now.
Okay, I will tell you. I just would rather because some of that is self-discovery, and it's kind of cool. But if you haven't figured it out,
did you discover it on your own?
No, but I was given a hint.
Okay,
my buddy had asked me a specific question that I will ask you when we're off air.
All right,
to kind of lead me that direction. I'll see if that works for you, and if not, I'll give you more information. I would recommend not looking it up. Because finding it out or figuring it out is kind of part of the fun.
Okay,
it's pretty cool. So, what was I going to say? It was kind of a fun experiment for me too, because I basically started it over. Since I was starting on a new platform, I'm not going to be able to carry my save over or anything like that. So, going into it, knowing what I know now, I felt like I had a completely different approach than I did when I started it fresh. And my perspective on the game is completely different, and I don't know. I feel like the game is designed for you to not know what's going on, if that makes sense. But we'll talk more. So anyway, I am so glad that you were trying it, and I was really worried when you started it and you said, "What the hell is Scott talking about this game?" I was like, "Oh man, I oversold it." I really was worried that I oversold it, but
dude, no, it's super fun.
Cool. All right, Alyssa,
Mm-hmm.
what have you been catching up on this week?
Well, I've been playing a game that we'll talk about later for review. So I haven't gotten to play much of God of War Ragnarok, but I've played a little bit more. I'm still really enjoying it, but I am the furthest behind anyone in the group, I believe, that's playing it.
Not further
than
behind
Zach.
than me. Yeah.
You're not playing it?
No, I'm not yet. I'll play it at some point. I was thinking the other night, I was like, oh, I guess I have played and beaten every other God of War, so I will certainly play this at some point.
Yeah?
It's just, you could play through all of the original PS2 and PSP God of Wars in half the time it takes you to get through Ragnarok.
It's pretty long.
Yeah, I'm not very far in, but I did get to a cool part that I won't say because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But I just keep looking at this game and going, gosh, this is really pretty. It's just so beautiful. But the combat does get a little samey after a while. I'm like, really? I've got to kill these enemies again?
Is there any notable... I know you guys talked about it a little bit last week, so forgive me. But is it markedly different than the last game's combat? Because that game got pretty stale a few hours in as well.
I'd say it's pretty much the same.
It feels very much the same. However, the skill tree, which I'm barely using, allows you to have so many different opportunities for new ways to fight. But like I do with most games of this kind, I get into a rhythm of the attacks that work for me early on.
And that's
what
I
just kind of just use those at the onset, and then, like I said last week, they allow you to strengthen up those specific attacks. You kind of level up just those attacks, and I'm to the point. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I'm maxing out the skill tree, and I'm not even looking to see what I've just acquired. I'm just doing it just to fill it in because I have nothing else to spend my experience on. You know what I mean?
Honestly
sounds
forget
like a
about
modern
the skill tree.
Sounds like
I didn't think about the skill tree for hours, and then I'm like, oh yeah, the skill tree. So I went and just upgrade a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's just hidden in the menu.
I think I've hit the 2/3 mark. Okay. I feel like I hit a pivotal point story-wise and equipment-wise that feels like it's about 2/3 of the way. I'm 26 hours in, and I'm kind of the point where like I just don't even care about the combat. I just want to. I'm doing it to get through it, like especially just the normal enemies. Now, when I fight a boss or something like cool like that, I enjoy those fights because those just feel epic.
They're really good.
They are really, really epic. However, there are these optional bosses. I cannot remember what they're... Berserkers, I believe they're called. I came across my first Berserker, and very, very tough boss. And I looked it up online, and they're like, "Oh, this is the easiest of the Berserkers." It's like, great. So I just decided to avoid Berserkers for the rest of the game
Do you have to use the Hammer of Dawn to take them down?
The Hammer of Dawn, no.
That's from the other GOW.
Yeah. Oh, wow, look at you.
Yeah. Well, there's also a boss fight against a Berserker in that game.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that it continues just from last week that the thing that is drawing me forward is the story. I am genuinely captivated because I have no idea how this is going to wrap up because we all know that there's not going to be a sequel. They've Cory Barlog has said, is it Barlog or Barlow? Cory Barlog.
I love how Cory Barlog gets all the credit for this game still, even though he didn't direct it or write it. He just produced it.
Right.
It's just funny that I'm not
the Santa Monica team.
I'm not trying to shame you. It was just I feel like even like all the reviews and people on Twitter are like praising Cory Barlog, even though he had a very hands-off, situation with this game.
Right. Yeah. It's just the name that we just kind of.
Everyone just kind of pictures
his name is synonymous
with it. Yeah.
Right. I think it stemmed from that like video that he filmed of himself reading review scores when the original God of War released.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that was what kind of caused it to happen. So, anyway, what was I saying?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Talking about the story and how you don't know where it's going to go.
I don't know where it's going to go because it's been told by people from Santa Monica that that this is the end of this chapter of the God of War saga, right? Like, there's not going to be a third God of War game in Norse mythology. So it's going to be wrapped. My game is going to be wrapped up like in the next 10 hours. And if Kratos lives and goes on to another universe, like, I don't know, Egyptian or whatever CB was talking about possibilities, or if Kratos dies, or whatever happens, I don't know, but it's going to have some finality to it within the next 10 hours. And there's obviously lots of talk about Ragnarok, and there's lots of characters that I have never heard of because I don't read Norse mythology, but it's still fascinating to me. I feel like this is my introduction to a lot of these characters. Odin, I don't know what can you describe Odin to me as a character in the written work? Because I feel like the way that he's portrayed in here, I mean, again, my only experience is the MCU, right? So, Zach, can you explain to me what Odin is like in the literature?
Oh boy, I guess
spotlight's on you.
I would say kind of burdened and tired usually, because he was young and arrogant and kind of plucked out one of his own eyes to gain the all sight so he could see the future and stuff. And then immediately realized that, like, he basically sets into motions that'll take it to Ragnarok and lead to his own death, but he was also trying to avoid killing. He was trying to avert fate, and by trying to stop Ragnarok and his own death, he is the man who puts it into motion. But they're still Norse dudes, they still have jovial dinners and stuff, but he's kind of like, I would say, like the tired king trope almost, like Beowulf later in his life kind of thing.
Is he the villain in Norse mythology?
No, not overtly. No, I mean, Loki would be the. But he's not really. He's more of like a mischief maker. He just happens to make makes way too much mischief this one time, and kills all the gods.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I guess that makes a lot more sense, because not knowing that, my perception of Odin is Anthony Hopkins. You know what I mean? Like, just a kind old soul.
Well, much like most of the MCU Norse mythology, it is totally off the mark.
Okay. I am really enjoying this iteration of Odin. Every time, and you've seen who the actor is that's playing him?
Yes.
And when I first saw him in one of the opening scenes in the game, I was like, really? This is the guy that's going to be Odin? I wasn't really sold on it. And now that I am seeing more of Odin in the later stages of the game, I can't wait until he's on the screen and interacting. It is so fun to watch, because I feel like he is likable, but I know he's got to be up to something, but he's not portraying that he's up to. I don't know. It's just a lot of fun to see, and I really do like this actor's portrayal of him. I just don't know how accurate it is, and I would be really curious to hear your thoughts on that once you get there, Zach. So if you could remember whenever you get there, I'd appreciate it.
I'm sure I will. Does Kratos yell Odin like he used to yell Ares?
No, because there's only, again, at the 26-hour mark, the only interaction that Kratos has had with Odin is the opening scene that I talked about, and literally a 30-second scene that I just had about 20 minutes ago.
Because I've experienced the opening scene, but not the 30-second.
Yeah, you won't see Kratos talk to Odin again for another 20 or so hours.
I don't know if it's just because of I'm not very far in. Does Kratos ever go, boy? Because I haven't heard him say that.
I haven't seen it, and I feel like that was intentional because of how that got parodied so much.
But there was
in the original.
There was a joke that Atreus made that I thought it was funny. I don't know. It says a spoiler. I don't know.
We're talking about Faye?
Skip 30 seconds ahead if you're worried about a spoiler.
It's just Atreus mentioning saying, "Why'd you call Mom when she was alive? Did you call her by her name or did you call her woman?"
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So that
Well,
was
I'm sure
kind of a callback.
they'll save the boy for, when Kratos is dying. He'll be like,
Right.
You did well, boy.
Well, plus, like, the kid that plays Atreus or Loki, whatever, is much older than he was the last time.
Oh, yeah.
And
Years.
I didn't realize how much older it was until I went back and watched, like, a recap of the original game, because there was a couple, like, details that I was missing. And I was like, holy cow, his voice was a lot higher back in 2018. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like he's not a boy anymore. He's, 14. He's a lot closer to manhood than he was when he was a boy.
Hey, and if there's any people that love Kratos out there and are worried he might die at the end of this game, just remember, it doesn't matter. He died, I think, twice in the original God of War.
Yep.
And both times he just crawled his way out of Hades. Death means nothing to Kratos.
Yeah, pretty much.
He'll probably just crawl out, and then he'll be in the Egypt mythology now on accident or something.
Right. Just go through a wormhole.
Yeah. This is the wrong realm.
Do you remember Zach in the trailer when that trailer dropped and there was the infamous line from the trailer that just gave me goosebumps that I love so much?
Uh-huh.
I just experienced that line in the game, and while the line is still cool, it didn't happen nearly as cool in the game as it did in the trailer.
Oh, really? Bummer.
Like, it's such a cool line, but it's just like an offhand, like, while you're traveling from one place to the other, having a conversation with another character, he drops that line.
That's the death can claim me when it has earned me thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That was an awesome line.
Such a great freaking line.
See, I want to play this for the mythology and the atmosphere and the story. It's just, boy, that combat was such a bummer by like halfway through that first game.
Well, and what I'm finding is that the combat, and I'm terrible at this type of game, and I'm playing on normal, I'm not finding it overly difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Most bosses I'm clearing without dying. There's a couple I had to redo. There are some mini bosses that gave me more trouble than regular bosses.
Yeah,
so
I've only died once, and that was to a mini boss.
That feels true of the first game, of the 2018 game.
The
like the Valkyries were harder than any of the other bosses.
Yeah, that's fair. There are these I cannot remember the creatures' names. You guys would know the mythology. The Hatefuls, thank you.
That's why I died too.
Oh my god, those things are like, I was going to say bullet sponges, but blade sponges, I guess would be a better thing to say. They are ridiculously difficult to kill. You like have to close up those I want to call them emergence holes, but that's not what they're called. What do they call those things that those guys come out of? I can't remember what those enemies are called. Not guars, but
I can't remember that part.
I can't remember. Anyway, it's like a side quest that you have to close up these things that these guys come out of, and in order to do it, you got to kill this one that's called the Hateful, and there's something like 8 of them in the realm, and they're stupid tough.
They're the Hateful Eight.
Oh man, I didn't even make that connection until you just said that. I'm gonna laugh now if there's actually 8 of them. That's gonna be great. I got to look that up. Anyway,
so before we move on, real quick, I want to say, just so I don't appear too hypocritical, there is also a useless skill tree in Sonic Frontiers.
Oh, I'm trying to think of what the skill tree is. Oh, like the different weapon. Yeah, I equipped a bunch of them and I never used them. At least not on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I use the speed and armor and stuff like that. Like I focus more on that than I do any of the attacks and stuff that I get.
I'm saying more like those combos you can unlock in the skill tree in the pause menu. Yeah, they're just totally useless. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Useless.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. That was quite a bit of games that we've been catching up on. But Zach, thanks for sharing it because I was really excited to hear what you thought about Sonic Frontiers and Vampire Survivors.
Right.
And hopefully by next week, I am off this week. So my number one goal before I have to go back to work is to finish Ragnarok. Hopefully by tomorrow.
And hopefully Sonic. Wouldn't that be cool?
Well, that's the goal is to go move on to Sonic, but I have a lot of writing I need to catch up on first. So, as much as I would love to jump right into Sonic, I need to get caught up on that so that I can start reviewing games again because I have not given myself any more games to review until I finish the ones I've got on my plate. So, but anyway, let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news. Things are quite a bit light this week. I kind of feel like this always happens the week of Thanksgiving because most of the news I could find was like, here's a great Black Friday deal coming up that you should check out. But
Right.
I was able to find a few things here, and I think Zach found one as well. A couple trailers to talk about. First off, I can't believe I'm saying. Did I misspell that? Is it gore?
It's gory.
Gory. Okay. Gory, cuddly carnage, fast and furious.
Yes.
Is a game coming to PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. And for the release date, they literally said as soon as the unicorns allow it. I mentioned this one because Tim Thane in our Discord community posted this trailer, and he said "Stray 2?" ? It totally looks like another.
Alyssa, why? Question mark.
That would be such a Jack and Daxter to Jak 2 jump, right? Like
Right.
Stray is Jak and Daxter, it's just kind of this nice warm game, and then Jak 2's he's just murdering everybody. Now the cat's PO'd.
So yeah, I had to mention that trailer because man, hilarious. Also, we got a new trailer for the Callisto Protocol, which releases on December 2nd on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I found out this week that the Grammys are getting a video game music category, and believe it or not, that is the first time that is happening. Volition will soon be part of Gearbox Entertainment. Microsoft also filed a patent for AI-composed video game soundtracks, and also one of the co-creators of Sonic the Hedgehog has been arrested for insider trading. So, even though it's a light week, there's still some interesting things. Zach, you've been gone the longest. Where would you like to start?
Well, in celebration of Sonic, I think it's, we may as well mention that his dad got arrested.
Oh no, Papa!
I know. Yeah, he got arrested for insider trading, which he should have just done in America because he would have got away scot-free if that was the case.
Yeah.
He probably actually would have got a pat on the back here.
Mhm.
But they basically bought a bunch of stock in the developer who would go on to make Dragon Quest Tactics, right before it was announced that they were on Dragon Quest.
Mhm.
So they made a bunch of money, and then I don't know if you guys read the article, but they were kind of dumb about it. It was like him and two buddies. They basically use insider information, which I just still don't understand how is even a crime, personally. But that's neither here nor there.
I could see both sides, but I understand what you're saying. Like, you don't know that this news is going to be a positive thing to investors.
Well, it's also just like between this and like how people like Reddit artificially inflated GameStop's value.
Mhm.
I feel like these things just prove it's all just a bunch of rich people games.
Right.
Like it's so meaningless. But anyway, it's rip people off, but don't rip us off. That's what this rule feels like. But
wow,
anyway,
that's a really interesting perspective that I've never considered. But yeah, okay.
But the point is, they all like spent like $300,000 like 2 days after they sold their shares, like immediately. So they just they were basically asking for it.
Well, yeah, because that's going to raise some red flags if you're
That's
spending
like,
that kind of
is that
money.
30 million yen?
Yeah, so it was some
That's a
extraordinary number. Yeah. And just, especially if you're like, you just made Balan Wonderworld, right? So we know you don't have any money, buddy. Yeah. And then,
is there no Sonic money left? I mean,
he hasn't worked on Sonic in decades, right?
I mean, is there no royalties? Isn't he like one of the original co-founders?
I do not know how Sonic royalties break down. I'm sorry to say.
I mean, I just listened to
I don't know.
Console Wars.
Does Cliff Bleszinski still get money from Gears of War?
I know he gets money from Unreal, doesn't he?
I don't. You just read his book, shouldn't you know?
I mean, he doesn't cover that in there. Like I said, that book is more of a memoir than.
Yeah, we're really talking out of our butts here. You're right.
Yeah.
Maybe he does. Either way, I'm pretty sure he'd be broke after Balan Wonderworld because that game, sold what, 15,000 copies or something? Like,
yeah,
he's not doing well.
I thought you were about to say 15 copies.
So if he then all of a sudden spends $100,000 the next day, it's gonna raise an eyebrow.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
I feel like that criminals could be smarter. Like, I'm not condoning criminal behavior, but I feel like I'd be a lot better at it. You know what I mean? Like, I just like, how are dumb people getting away with this more times than not? But
not getting away with it.
This time
you're right.
not.
No, you're right. Yeah, but I just thought it was a wonderful timing. Sonic, Sonic finally having a game people like again. And then his Papa goes to jail, as Alyssa said.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
like you said, he kind of has nothing to do with this Sonic game.
Right.
Right?
He had to know. Dude, extra eyes are going to be on you right now. You know, a new Sonic game just came out, first time in half a decade.
Really good point. Like
what
I said.
What are you doing?
This is very coincidental timing.
Yeah.
Maybe it was all like planned just to get more eyes on, to make Sonic Frontiers more successful. This was a big, elaborate scheme.
He's willing to go down. He's like, hey, man, if you take the fall for this, we'll greenlight Balan Wonderworld 2.
They cut in with some royalties on him for Sonic Frontiers.
Let's get that Billy Hatcher sequel going, bro.
Oh my God. Billy Hatcher. Anyway, Alyssa, what would you like to talk about?
Well, I mean, video game music is now rightfully being nominated at the Grammys in its own category because, you know, there are some fantastic scores and soundtracks in video games, and they really don't get recognition like, you know, mainstream music does, or even film scores do.
Mm-hmm.
But now they get their own category, and some of the nominees this year are Austin Wintory for Aliens Fireteam Elite, Stephanie Economo for Assassin's Creed Valhalla Dawn of Ragnarok, Bear McCreary for Call of Duty Vanguard, Richard Jacques for Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Christopher Tin for Old World.
I believe that's pronounced Jakes. Richard Jakes.
I am sorry, Richard Jakes.
I believe. I could be wrong. I have a teacher at my school who spells his name the same way, and
I was just going by the French
Jakes.
way.
Yeah,
It could be either
Jacques.
way.
Yeah. Is that Eidos Montreal make that game, right? Square Enix Montreal? So they're probably French is what I'm saying.
so maybe Alyssa's right. Maybe
So
I'm wrong.
probably Jacques.
Shut my mouth.
Yeah.
This is really cool news because, as you guys know, I always want to make video games have a bigger spotlight. Although now that we do have a bigger spotlight than we did when I was a kid, now we get all the crap that comes with being in the spotlight. You know, political stuff and everything like that. So that's
Yep.
kind of a negative, but it's still really cool to see here, especially because they used to be included with movies, right? It used to be score soundtrack for visual media, you know, which included video games, but wasn't always video games. So now the category is called Best Score Soundtrack for Video Games and Other Interactive Media. And the reason that I find this so important is because what video game music does different to me than, say, like a film score or, you know, an album or whatever, is that it's constantly changing based on what you do, right? Like when you play, Zach, you played Doom Eternal. I know you played.
Oof. Controversial soundtrack to discuss.
Yeah, you know, I should have put that in there. Holy cow, that became a topic this week as well. But even Doom, like Doom 2016, right? That game, like, the music just ran smooth as butter based on what you were doing. You know what I mean?
Right. That game wouldn't have been half successful as it was without the music.
I agree. It was such an integral part of that game experience. And that's something that video game music does that other mediums don't, is that, you know, it has to constantly, I'm not going to say evolve, but it has to move around and switch and transition in ways that make sense and keep you engaged. So I'm really happy to see that this is happening, because, you know, I love it when games get recognized. Didn't what was it, Civ 6 or was it Civ 5? I think it was Civ 5 that got a Grammy for that song that was in like the opening credits or whatever.
Oh, cool.
I mean, this is years ago. That was back before it was a video game category. Now it's just strictly video games. So that's kind of cool.
Well,
I think Kirby has a Grammy.
The soundtrack will probably get more attention here than they will at the Game Awards.
Yeah, that's
true.
a really good point, actually. Yeah. Just like, oh yeah, best music goes to, and moving on to a Razer commercial.
Right.
Or they just have it on
and
the side of the screen. They don't even say
Yes, of course.
anything.
Where they're like, and during the break, so-and-so won for best music, so-and-so won for best indie, so-and-so won for multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, world premiere trailer.
I mean, let's be honest, that's what we all watch it for, right?
Because
That's
it's
true,
all
yeah.
it's the only option they give me.
Right, yeah.
I would like to watch the awards, but it's hard to find them.
That's true. I would like to go where we just have like the hardcore speeches and stuff like that. Was it
I want
was it virtual last year? I don't remember.
No.
I think
right?
they had the nominees and presenters there, but they didn't allow the public.
Because they did the Elden Ring thing where they had that like sentient pot come up. Do you remember that? That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
maybe I don't know. It's hard to. But the Game Awards is our MTV Music Awards, but I do hope one day we have an Oscars.
Right. I'm with you as well. Like a classy, like people giving speeches and throwing their political opinions. In the mix.
Well, maybe that's not as necessary, but just a little more pretension in the award ceremonies.
Right. I want to talk about. I know this is hardly news, but that new trailer for Callisto Protocol. I just can't be more excited for that game, and sadly, it's because it looks like Dead Space 4.
I was gonna say you said it best, Scott. When I sent you the trailer. Where you're just like, oh, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. Like it's just Dead Space. Or we're listening to that audio drama for Callisto Protocol. Alyssa, I don't know if you're listening to it.
I haven't yet.
It is. Good. It's just Dead Space. It has like sound effects that are like, I'm pretty sure that's a sound effect for when you heal in Dead Space, man. Or they'll be like, dude, is it a plasma cutter? Never leave home without it. I bet you don't, buddy.
That's literally a line from the audiobook or the podcast
That's awesome.
thing. And.
Dude, it's not subtle at all.
I gotta ask Zach one thing. How do you feel about Sam Witwer being in it?
He's not. Well, he hasn't really been in the audio drama yet.
No, I mean in the game. He's
but I learned he's in the game. Yeah, well, Alyssa, I went from 6 to midnight when I saw it. You know what I mean? It's a pretty exciting situation. With the audio,
there's our explicit
drama,
tag.
The audio drama has Michael Ironside as well. So I mean, dude, I'm eating good. And it's got that super attractive lady from The Boys in it.
I can't remember which lady. I don't remember the actress. Plays who?
In The Boys, she plays the female.
There's
the female
in the comics. Her code name is the female. So
I thought you were being like the woman in The Boys.
Yeah,
in the 6 or whatever. How many are there? 7?
No, the one she's on The Boys.
Oh,
the cute Asian lady.
Oh, okay. She's one. Okay,
Karen Fukuhara?
Is that Pendergast?
Yeah, Karen Fukuhara. Thank you. Also, it was on the tip of my tongue.
Is she the one that plays Pendergast?
No, she's in the game. She's like this co-lead.
Oh, in the game. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Jeez, anyways, Josh Duhamel, I think, plays the lead.
Yeah.
Guy.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I for whatever reason I did not realize it was December 2nd. That just got me way like that's not that far, guys. That's
so. Did you just have the same reaction that Zach did when he found out Sam Witwer was going to be in the game?
No, I don't have quite the man crush on Sam Witwer.
No, I meant that you knew that it was coming December 2nd.
Oh yeah, I definitely. Mid-evening to the top of the night.
I'm sorry, audience. I provoked this out of both of them.
Oh yeah, you often do.
Anyway,
Volition is part of Gearbox, man. That sucks.
Oh, is that upsets you?
I mean, it sucks whenever it's kind of like when Raven got absorbed into the Call of Duty thing. It's like, that sucks.
Who?
Raven Software.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know. I was being facetious. Like, have we heard about Raven Software in a while? Because
I think they still exist in name only.
That's what I mean.
But they got a credit for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I don't know what they did for it.
I think,
but that was due to the reception of Saints Row, which Alyssa, you said you actually liked.
I had fun with it. It's not a perfect game, and it's not great, but it's fun. It's about a solid 6.5, 7.
Well, I was just going to say the Metacritic score is like 61 to 65 on average right now, which it's sad to me that is a bad score. Like that.
It's not a bad. No, it's not a bad game. It's average for sure.
Not every game can be a 9 or 10. You know what I mean? I don't know. And again, that's coming from a guy that hasn't played it. So, and apparently this news came out at the same time that they did a bunch of updates in that game. So Alyssa, let me know next time you get into that to see if if any of this stuff is fixed, because I'd be curious.
Let me know if they restore the name to Rim Jobs, for God's sake.
Yeah, right now it's Jim Robs.
That tells me everything I need to know about the new Saints Row.
Of all the things you're going to change, that's the thing. Well, anyway, let's go ahead before we get into the new games that we've been playing. I want to remind everybody that we are an independently funded podcast, and we could use your support if you'd be so willing to do so. We have a Patreon page where you can contribute monthly and get some thank yous for doing so. We've got a couple different tiers. You can do a $1 tier, which is just a support tier, a $3 tier, which will get you 1 bonus episode each month, and a $5 tier, which will get you 2 bonus episodes each month. And guess what? We have a brand new episode up and ready to go right now on patreon.com/thegocast. We have our latest Desert Island episode with CJ Moore. We recorded that one quite a while ago, and I finally got it up earlier this morning. And just as a bit of warning, I edited that podcast. So it was not the professional that is Nate Lucas recording that podcast. So if it doesn't sound quite the same, it's not Nate's fault, it's mine, but I hope you guys do enjoy it. And we do have a couple other episodes coming out this week. CB and I sat down and talked about Little Samson. That will be out this week. And speaking of Sonic, this actually works out well with Sonic Frontiers. Kevin and I sat down and talked about Link's Awakening and Sonic Generations. And also, since I am off this week, CB and I are supposed to get together and talk about some games that he says I'm not going to enjoy playing. We're going to talk about doing that. And we still got to do a Desert Island with Grant Henry as well, don't we, Zach?
Yeah, that's very true. You're right.
We should get that. So I promise we're going to get those episodes out. Now that I know how to edit, I will be getting those knocked out as quickly as possible. Again, if you'd like to help out, please do so over at patreon.com/thegocast. And we're going to go ahead now and jump into the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach. Very light week this week. Thank the Maker. What's coming out?
Thank the Maker because everyone's getting out of the way of Dead Space 4 coming next week.
Right.
But Evil West finally
that game
comes
actually
out.
looks rad.
It
yes,
does.
on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One and PC, November 22nd. It is not the only linear shooter game, though, coming out this week, because Gungrave Gore comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One and PC, November 22nd. Just Dance 2023, coming out on a meager selection of platforms compared to usual PS5, Series X, S and S, and Nintendo Switch, November 22nd. Ship of Fools comes to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, Switch and PC, November 22nd. And then Do Not Open comes to PS5 and PC, November 25th. And that's just about it.
Wow.
For this week.
Wow.
I have to imagine it's a clean sweep for Evil West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me.
Did you guys see the Danny Trejo trailer?
I did not.
I did not.
Oh, it's such a good trailer. It's just they're talking to Danny Trejo and they're saying, "Oh, we're gonna have loot boxes and you can after you collect like 50 pigeons, you can cash your coins in." He's like, "I just want to play a single player game." And then they show the trailer for Evil West and it's like, "Now that's what I'm talking about." But obviously in Danny Trejo's voice. It's great. Check it out. It's funny.
Smart marketing.
Yeah, especially for people like us.
They're leaning into it, right?
Yeah.
Isn't because this is a Flying Wild Hog. This is a Shadow Warrior people who earlier in the year were like, you could be, or when Dead Island, right? Dying Light 2 came out and they're like, it's 500 hours. And you could be Shadow Warrior 3 17 times in that. And I like that. So
good.
It's developers doubling down on single player games.
Yeah. I have a feeling somebody in our group will be playing that game for sure. But
it looks really cool.
It does look really cool.
It does.
Alyssa, you have been checking out a new game called A Little to the Left, which you're playing on PC. And, from the chaos that is Sonic Frontiers and God of War Ragnarok, which is this, denser story and gorgeous looking game, this looks like kind of a respite from all of that. Can you explain what everybody is? Because it looks like an organizational game, like another sim game, but sim light. Am I off there?
Kind of. There's not much to this game. There's no story. There's 5 chapters. I've already finished this game. And it's just a bunch of puzzles back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the puzzles do revolve around organizing, but things have to be a certain way before you can clear the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have multiple solutions, some just have one set solution. So if you have OCD, this game soothes the itch. But other than that, I mean, I'm not good at puzzles, and I was able to figure most of them out without using any hints or anything. There were about 5 that I don't know how they came up with the solution to that in the first place, and I don't know how people are supposed to figure it out. So I did have to use the hint system. Which the hint system is not really a hint system, I have to say. It literally gives you the answer.
Oh.
They show
nice.
a piece of notebook paper, and it's got scribbles over it. You get the eraser, and if there's a certain area of the puzzle that you're having trouble with, you erase that, or you could just erase the whole picture, and it shows you the solution.
Oh, wow. It's like a God of War NPC.
Yeah.
And it does have an option, if you're just completely stuck, you can click let it be. You won't be punished, you'll go to the next puzzle, but I never had to use that. That's just there.
Did they whisper words of wisdom to you?
They do, yes.
Oh, okay.
I got the joke.
Thank you.
And there is a cat that will occasionally pop up and ruin your puzzle. But you can't even be mad because it's so cute. I'm just like, you have fun with it, kitty. I'll fix it.
Does it do the jerk thing where the cat just sits and stares at you and puts its paw out and bats something off the counter?
No. Your background is just a bright pastel color, so there's nothing you're not on a counter or table or anything of that nature.
Oh, okay.
So you just see a cat paw just come down from the bottom of the screen and reach out and grab one of your things you have to use to solve it, and then you have to tap on the paw like, let go, kitty! And it lets it go.
That's funny. So can you describe how these puzzles work? Because I'm not really getting it, because in the trailer it just looks like you're straightening things.
Pretty much. All you need is your mouse. You don't use anything else. You point and click, basically. You grab something with clicking, left click on the mouse, drag it. Yeah, you're just basically moving things, from largest to smallest, dragging things in order, or maybe you have to fit certain objects so they fit well together, they don't overlap. You move things into like categories. It's pretty much that. It's not anything too major or complex.
Okay. Sounds good. A little to the left. Are you recommending it? I know it's on Switch as well.
If you're into puzzles, I think you'd really enjoy this, because there is also a daily puzzle that's brand new, unique. You can only play for 24 hours. So it does entice you to keep coming back just to play the new puzzle every day. But it is very relaxing. I completed it in 3 sittings, and it took me a little over 5 hours, and I just couldn't make myself leave. I kept playing because I wanted to know what the next puzzle was. But yeah, if you're into puzzles, you want something relaxing besides those 5 puzzles that I was a little frustrated with. And if you love cats, even if they mess up your stuff, I'd say give it a try.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much for the review. Well, that is all the new games we played this week. We obviously have been catching up on God of War and Sonic, so that's all we've got, but hopefully we'll have something new next week. Real quick, want to remind everybody about where you can follow The Gaming Outsider, not only on the podcast, but also on facebook.com/groups/thegocast. We've got an awesome community over there, and I would really encourage you to check it out. Join the discussions. We've got a couple new members, Charlie Miswald and Casey Long. Welcome to the community. And also over on Discord, our community there is doing well as well. And there's a link for that in the show notes for this episode. If you'd like to click on that, you can automatically be invited to join that community as well. We've got a new member over there by the name of Pugman. So welcome, Pugman. We're glad that you're over there. Also, if you get a chance, drop a review for this episode or any episodes. We would appreciate it. It helps us get the word out there. And lastly, check out our website, thegamingoutsider.com. There you can find all of our episodes and all of our written content as well. And you know what? There's also some bios up there on each of us. So if you want to read up a little bit about each of the hosts, or
I don't think I have a bio.
Well, there's a bio for everybody but Alyssa. I don't know why Alyssa's isn't on there, but I'm going to have to fix that. So if you want to read a little bit more about Alyssa, follow her on TikTok because she does cute little videos over there. So
thank you. And maybe I'll get a bio one day on the website.
Yeah, I don't know why you don't. I wish someone would have told me. We would have fixed that. But we're going to go ahead now and jump into our From the Outside In topic. So the Wii U turned 10 years old this past Friday, so I thought it would be a good time to reminisce about Nintendo's first tablet console that wasn't a handheld. Zach has put together some fun facts about the Wii U, which we'll kind of go back and learn about that, and then we'll share some of our favorite memories from playing it, including what our community had to say about it. So Zach, you got some fun facts for us about the Wii U?
I do. It may surprise you that a console as unsuccessful as a Wii U maybe doesn't have as much information out there as other consoles. But
yeah, right.
And I did put together. Obviously launched November 2012, sold 13.5 million units its entire life cycle. For a point of reference, the Dreamcast, a famous disaster, sold 9 million. And Nintendo's other lowest selling platform, the GameCube, sold 22 million. So 13.5 million. Not great. But what I thought was interesting is Mario Kart 8 sold 8.5 million copies, which means that 66% of Wii U owners owned Mario Kart 8.
I mean, that's a reason why people bought a Wii U, was for Mario Kart 8.
Right. I feel like it might have been the only reason, it turns out.
Yeah, remember how long Mario Kart 8 was on the top-selling, top 10 chart? It was like multiple years that it was in the top 10.
Even the Wii U version, even?
Yeah, even the Wii U version. I mean, it obviously did better once it came out on Switch, but I used to listen to a podcast that would do the top 10 NPD numbers each week. And Mario Kart 8 and Minecraft were always, and GTA 6, or GTA 5, excuse me.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is counted separately. It's 48 million copies sold.
Just nuts.
That's astronomical.
It is.
The Wii U writing was a little bit on the wall right away because as soon as they announced it, Nintendo stock dropped 10% that day, which is usually not what happens when you announce a new console.
Right. It's usually the other way around. No insider trading going on over there at Nintendo.
not very intelligently. The Nintendo of America did try to warn Japan about the name. Their marketing team said that the Wii U doesn't tell people what it is, but Nintendo of Japan was adamant that was the name they wanted to go for.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you could say the same about Wii, right?
Right. Yeah, and you're probably right? Because you wouldn't want to release a console named Wii in America, but I guess they were right. So maybe it's a little bit of hubris, right? Where they're like, hey, we were right last time, weren't we? Yeah.
I think the bigger problem with that was that Wii U sounded so close to Wii that I think a lot of consumers did not realize it was a completely different console.
Well, as someone who worked at GameStop when it came out, nobody knew that it was a different console.
Mm-hmm.
Almost everybody, including regulars who were there, getting every big new release, they thought it was just a tablet for the Wii.
Right.
So it was just a disaster of marketing. I do not, for the life of me, understand why didn't you at least just call it the Wii 2?
Right.
Yeah.
That would have made sense.
Yeah.
And it rhymes with the Wii U.
Right. The Wii U 2. It also probably didn't help.
On it. Sorry.
Oh my God, it's just like Apple. Yeah,
with
it also didn't help
that you.
The new Super Mario Bros. U and Nintendo Land were its two big launch games. The rest of its launch lineup was mostly ports of PS3 and 360 games.
Right.
So that obviously didn't help. It was such a failure right away that even 2 months after launch, which it had a pretty successful launch, right, of over about 500,000 units in its launch month. 2 months later, they were only selling about 50,000 units of hardware a month. For a small point of comparison, the last time we had PlayStation 4 sales numbers was in August, where it sold 80,000 units nearly 10 years into its life cycle.
10 years, and they're still doing 80,000.
Right, and it's also just, why the hell would you buy a PS4 right now?
Yeah, I mean, because you can't get a PS5, or at least you couldn't.
Yeah,
would just get some patience. But that's how not well it was going for the Wii U, to the point where EA, Ubisoft, and Bethesda were already said they were done making game for it by June 2013.
Yeah. I remember when Assassin's Creed came on that thing, and I was like, what? Assassin's Creed is coming on a Nintendo console? And I was intrigued, because then you could just have the map on your tablet, which was the draw, right? Where you wouldn't have to go to a pause screen. You just have the tablet in front of you and, do all your map stuff down there. And I never did it.
No, it's not as cool as you thought it would be.
Nope. Not at all.
And the console itself was discontinued before the Switch even came out by several months, which is hilarious to me because I don't know, has that ever happened before?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I could be wrong though.
Yeah.
I'm not a Sith, so I can't speak in absolutes.
Of course. So like there are like no fun facts about the Wii U. It's mostly just sad facts.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean just a complete disaster of a console from start to finish.
Were you guys a fan of the console?
No.
I didn't play it much because I got mine late in its life cycle.
Oh. I liked it.
No, I never even owned one. By the time I was going to buy one, it was like Bayonetta 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, I can't just buy this for Bayonetta 2.
Right.
I
remember it being decently priced. Wasn't it only like $300 or something?
I think so.
Yeah, it was $300 for the 8 gigabyte unit and $350 for the 32 gigabyte unit, which is funny because both of those are incredibly small numbers.
Yeah.
Even at the time,
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah. Or anyway, so I don't think I got mine right at launch. Maybe I'm wrong. But I remember having a lot of fun with the Nintendo Land games, but they were more like throwaway party games. You know what I mean? Like, I love me some Jackbox games, but I only play those when I have people over at my house to play Jackbox, or if we do it online or something like that. You know what I mean? It's not like man, I can't wait to get home and play Jackbox. You know what I mean? It's like something to do to entertain your friends kind of thing. And that's what Nintendo Land was.
It should have been the pack-in.
It should have been. I don't know why that wasn't, because it felt like a pack-in title. It really did.
Yes.
I don't know if that would have saved it more than calling it the Wii 2. But isn't it crazy that just like one letter to a number probably would have increased the sales of that thing by
and also didn't help the box design just highlighted the tablet so front and center.
Yeah.
Right.
That it really did look like you were just buying a tablet for your Wii.
Yep. It really did. I will say that one of the bigger selling points for me with the Wii U was using it for a way that it was not designed, or at least I don't believe it was designed this way. I used it to play on the tablet because you could actually play the Wii. What was it? The Wii Store games or the Wii. When you could play like Nintendo games and stuff. What was that called? The Wii Shop or the Wii Virtual Console?
Virtual Console. Yep.
You could play the Virtual Console games right on the tablet without even being hooked up to the TV. So what I would do is I would actually disconnect the Wii U from the TV and bring it upstairs into my living room and hook up the unit itself right next to me on the couch on my little like end table, plug in the power, plug in my tablet, and I would just play it like we play a Switch now, just right next to me. I saw, I think Patrick Klepek talked about taking it on a plane with him.
Dude, I'm sorry. It's just funny. That was the exact story I was thinking of.
Yeah. Like as long as you have a plug on your airplane, you could have brought it with you and used it. Like this was a Switch before a Switch was a Switch, or before Switch was a thing.
I cut you off, Scott. I'm sorry, but Patrick Klepek, plugged it into a plane and played Bayonetta 2 during a flight. That was big.
Which, in today's era, that's not that big a deal because we have Switch and we've got Steam Deck now, and but there was no way to play Nintendo games like that. I mean, there was 3DS, right? But the games the games were much better on Wii U, to be honest. Like, I know it wasn't a great console, but I enjoyed it. So I guess this is a silly question then, because neither of you ever, I guess you said you had one later on, right, Alyssa?
I did. It was actually sent to me from a YouTube viewer back when I was doing YouTube videos because I had an Amazon wish list. Very generous. I wanted it to play Bayonetta 2. And that's the first game I played on it. Loved it. I did play Captain Toad Treasure Tracker on it. Loved that game as well.
Looks so
It
fun.
was so cute. I tried Zombie U and didn't really care for it. I didn't care. It came packaged with New Super Mario. Was it New Super Mario Brothers U? Is that the name?
Yeah.
And then it
That
came
was
with
a
New
side-scroller,
Luigi Brothers U. I didn't like it.
That's a bummer. Well, that wasn't one that was designed for like 4 people at once, right?
I mean, it had a campaign, but I'm just not good at Mario games. That's why I didn't like it.
Gotcha.
I was like,
It's probably because it wasn't Sonic is why you didn't like it.
I need to play more Sonic games. I know that'd make Kevin very happy.
It would.
Right.
For me, like I said, I had it at the onset. I enjoyed it, but I think just the lack of library was an issue.
Mhm.
Like you said, it became mostly ports of games that I was already playing on other platforms, so it was kind of useless. I don't want to buy the game again just to play it on a different console. There were some good stuff. Isn't that where Mario 3D World started?
I believe
Right.
so.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, speaking from my memories, I love a lot of Wii U games. I played all of them on Switch. It was great.
Yeah, they've ported a lot of those over.
All right.
Except for the Star Fox game. That never came to
I was gonna
Switch.
say, the Star Fox games and the HD Zelda ports of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Those are like the last men standing over there.
How is it crazy that I can go play that on a Wii U, but I can't play it on a Switch?
It's not crazy, Scott. It's infuriating.
Yeah. I would love to go back and play Twilight Princess again. Like, it's been long enough that it would feel like a fresh game for me.
Yeah, and I want to play Wind Waker with all the improvements.
Right, because I played it back when I had to do all that stupid sailing at the end.
Yes, yeah, with a giant 20-piece fetch quest at the end of the game.
Yeah, that you had to do, that it was not optional. You actually had to, ugh. But those dungeons were some of the best dungeons in Wind Waker.
Oh, dude, I just love the entire vibe of Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm.
How, every sword swing gets a little bit more music behind it or whatever during a combo, and yeah, I love Wind Waker. I like his sleepy hair at the start of the game is adorable. It's a great game.
And I remember not being excited about that art style when I first saw it advertised. And
Zelda, bro.
Zelda. I forgot about that. Oh man! But it wound up being charming. I really enjoyed it. Man, what a great game it was. I actually still have a Wii U, not my original. I actually think I sold my original Wii U to Christy, old producer for the show. Still is on our team. I think she has my Wii U because her kid wanted to play Breath of the Wild before they had a Switch. Or not Breath of the Wild was on Wii U, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
I think it was one of the last games released for it.
It had to be, right? It had to be the last. Maybe a Just Dance game or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, Just Dance might have been the last one.
Yeah, I mean, because they were still releasing it on the Wii U for like forever.
Do you remember they were putting Just Dance games on the Wii, but not the Wii U?
Right. Yeah.
For a long time.
That's insane.
It is nuts. I actually, like I said, I still have one, but I have a brand new one. Like I bought the Zelda, the Wind Waker version, and I've kept it sealed and boxed up. I actually, it's freshly dusted because once a year my wife makes me take everything off of those shelves and dust all the shelves and dust all the games and collectibles and everything. And that was the week to do it because we're having people over for Thanksgiving. So it's all clean now. It looks nice.
Oh. Did my invite to Thanksgiving get lost in the mail?
No, I mean, I didn't think you would fly out from Portland to have Thanksgiving with me. I'm like flustered all of a sudden. Hey, you want to come out for Christmas, man?
No. I already turned down my less real family.
Your real family? Is that what you were just going to say?
I said less real. You guys are my real family. I had to just correct myself.
I don't know, man. Last year we did our little live stream thing and kind of played games on here all day. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
We got to do that again. We got to get us all together, go somewhere,
play 50
run
Cent.
an Airbnb.
That'd be,
dude. We gotta make that dream happen at some point.
We do, because we talk about it like every few months, and then it just.
And every few months we all are all like, oh my god, sounds amazing.
Yeah, but then nobody wants to plan it and set it up. Nobody wants to.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott will do it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll take care of that. So I feel like we've already talked about the titles on the Wii U, but Super Mario 3D World, I can't remember what the Star Fox one is called. It wasn't Assault.
Zero.
That was there we go. Zero.
Star Fox Zero, and they had the Tower Defense Star Fox Guard. And
I never played that, but
I own both of those games for a system I've never owned because I love Star Fox so much. But
dude, if you love Star Fox 64, you would love that game because that's Star Fox 64.
Told, yeah.
However, there are some changes they made that were not great.
I've heard the controls are not to be desired.
They're not great, and plus, there's like they had to utilize the tablet, so there's this little missions where you have to take this robot that you drop off, and you have to control the robot to go through tunnels or ventilation ducts and stuff.
It makes me worried that we'll never get a switchboard of it because it just relied on the tablet just a bit too much.
No, but you wouldn't need it to be on the tablet. If they just allowed you to switch back to that view, it would be completely fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look, I'm saying from Nintendo's perspective, like, maybe that's too much work.
Probably. The game also actually had a gyroscope thing in it, so like when you were flying, you could actually aim your reticle by tilting the tablet to shoot, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's how I like to play Breath of the Wild.
Did you really?
Yeah, because you can aim mostly with the stick and then fine tune it with the gyroscope and just knock out headshots left and right on bokoblins.
Well, that's what we thought. Let's go ahead and jump over to the community responses. We asked this question over on Facebook and Discord and Twitter. And fun fact, we actually had a whole other topic planned that Zach actually came up with, which we'll do next time Zach's on an episode. So I hope you don't mind, Zach, that I just kind of commandeered the topic this week, but I thought it was appropriate with the anniversary being this week.
It was timely. It also doesn't surprise me that Sean Coates wrote 2 paragraphs about this topic.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of, Sean Coates says on Facebook, I didn't get mine at release. In fact, I actually got one the Christmas before the Switch was set to launch that upcoming spring. Not to mention, mine was a used refurbished system from a retro game store. It's a shame this console didn't do better as there was some good tech under the hood. But the fact that it was marketed poorly to the point where people first thought it was an accessory to the original Wii rather than a full-fledged next-gen console. I suppose it also didn't help that the tablet controller was seen as a gimmicky, and historically speaking, it's usually just the first-party games that utilize them, while third-party devs tend to ignore them. I still play mine to this day every so often, usually as a party console, since I still don't have a Switch. What?
What? That doesn't sound right.
Should have seen Zach's face when you read that. His eyes just went...
As for favorite games on the system, I've already mentioned my adoration last week for Super Mario Maker, as that game finally made me want a Wii U. I sometimes forget that Super Mario Maker came out on the Wii U first.
That as well.
Like, to me, that's just a Switch game. You know what I mean?
I think I was too. I was super into Giant Bomb still back then, right? So, and they were talking about Super Mario Maker like every week. So I think I was very aware it was on the Wii U. It seems right with the tablet. You can kind of use the stylus to help build levels. That just seems smart.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Alyssa, want to take the next comment?
Chris Owens writes, got mine at Christmas the first year. It was underrated in its technology. The only title that pops to mind was the very last one released for it, which was Breath of the Wild.
I'm surprised Chris didn't mention the Paper Mario game. Wasn't there a Paper Mario game on the Wii U, or was that Wii?
Well, there's Super Paper Mario on the Wii, and then I think there was Sticker Star on 3DS. I don't personally remember one on Wii U, but that's not to say there wasn't one.
Okay, maybe I am thinking of the...
If there was one, wouldn't it be on the Switch by now?
That's a good point.
Yeah, you would think so, yeah.
Yeah, it probably was the Wii. I just remember he and I having a discussion. He loved that Paper Mario game, and I did not. I literally fell asleep playing that game.
Was it the one that was less RPG-y?
Yeah, it was just like a platformer.
Yeah, that was a weird one. It did
some papery things, like you roll up into a tube and roll across the ground and all that, but there was no JRPG at all. And so that's my bad. I thought that was a Wii U game, but apparently not.
Guess, you're not a big Nintendo fan as you thought you were, huh?
Yeah.
It's because you're becoming a Sonic fan, soon you'll be falling asleep going, Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Did you probably didn't see the post, or did you, Zach?
What?
I was over at Kevin's house last night, and he and I love to give each other crap about Mario versus Sonic, and I was giving him a hard time about, how Sonic's a Mario game now. And so I'm at his house because we're learning together how to edit podcasts. And I'm walking down in his basement. He's got this amazing Sonic the Hedgehog collection. He's got the expensive statues, and he's got them all displayed in a way that makes my Zelda collection look like a flea market. He's got it displayed very, very well. Anyway, so I'm over there admiring his stuff, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Here, hold this a second." And he hands me a metal disc plate sign. And I was like, "What?" I try to look over to see what it is. He's like, No, just hold it for a second," and then quickly snaps a picture of me holding this sign. And I was like, "What is this?" He's like, "Don't worry about it." And then he just sticks it back on the wall, and I look over, and it has "Sega does what Nintendo don't" on it. And he posted it on social media and says, "Hey guys,
Yeah.
Scott's changed over." So
He's like, "Look what your loyal leader said."
yeah,
Right. I love that Kevin's still harboring. I like that all of us are still harboring this feud that's been irrelevant for 20 years.
I know, it's great. But you gotta look at the picture. It's on Discord somewhere as well. Because I had this look on my face, like, why am I
Yes.
posing for this picture? Like, what's going on?
The expression on Scott's face is what makes the picture just perfect.
I really
That's
thought
funny.
he was going to be like throwing like a Zelda poster at me or something because he knows I love Zelda. But no, he just wanted to get a picture of me holding a Sega sign.
That makes sense. Based on
yeah.
the stuff Kevin texts me about you, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Kevin. No,
Yeah,
I'll
well,
have to tell you
I
that
can't-
story. I'll tell you that
can't
story
share-
off air.
I can't share these stories online. Anyway, Jason Rogers writes in, "I was at a video game store at the mall with my son, who was around 7 at the time. They had a demo of Mario Kart 8 going. He said, 'Dad, Mario looks so real.' So we had a riot with Mario Kart, Splatoon, Mario Maker, Captain Code, Smash Bros, Pikmin, and Yoshi's Woolly World. Years later, as my daughter got older, they had a lot of fun playing Nintendo Land together. And of course, Lego City Undercover was like GTA for kids. Hopefully with less hookers. Since I grew up with the NES, I was usually on the virtual console playing through my old favorites. Plenty of good memories, and our Wii U is still going strong." That's a nice warm. Now I feel bad I mentioned hookers, Jason. That's a nice warm story. But dude, I'll tell you. You know what? As much as I love Bayonetta 2, the game I was most jealous of on the Wii U was Splatoon. I wanted to play it so bad. It looks so fun. And then I did play Splatoon 2 on Switch, and it was a lot of fun. That game was great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But,
They did such a clever way of making a shooter not a shooter.
Yes, they made it making a shooter where they basically killing somebody is almost a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's not where you should be focusing on. It's great.
It's all about land management or real estate, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm saying, yeah, killing people obviously serves a purpose. It's just your primary goal is how to get this turf.
Also, the virtual console. That was the last time we actually got to buy those games on a console. Now we have to do it with a subscription service. And I still don't know which I like better because all those games I bought on the Wii U, I don't have anymore. You know?
Right. I don't know. I feel like the subscription service is a different topic, but I'm starting to feel like I have less choice than ever.
With a subscription service?
Yeah. In terms, because it used to just be there were only like two things, and you would, you know, like right now there's Game Pass, right? But what happens in 10 years when there's 14 competitors? And now I have to I have to go to this service to get an EA game, or I have to go to this service to get a Sega
kind of like we
game.
got with streaming movies and television right now. Like,
Yeah, so saying like, and then because it's always constantly switching hands, I'm like, who has Knives Out this week? I wonder.
right.
You know, oh, nobody. I guess I have to pay $4 to rent it. Okay, what was the point of me paying for all these streaming services then?
Hey, could we go
Yeah.
to digital rentals, please?
Apparently, yeah, it's all
Dude,
coming
I would
man.
pay $10 to digitally rent Call of Duty Modern Warfare for 24 hours. Sign
Oh,
me
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like,
I feel like the PlayStation service started that way, where you could pay like $8 to get it for a week or whatever.
I mean, that's a steal. $8 for a week.
It wasn't. They weren't new games though,
Oh, okay.
but it was definitely. What the hell is the service called? PlayStation Now. That's how it started.
yeah.
You know, you could rent Force Unleashed. It was like $8 for a week or whatever.
I still feel like there's a market for that somewhere.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
even if
maybe, I mean, but FOMO is so powerful now that it probably actually hurts your bottom line if you offer people options like that.
yeah,
Just just a week of all your friends telling you how good God of War is, you'll pay $70. We can wait.
yeah, that's a good point. It's a really good point. I'm proof positive of that, right?
Right.
I want to be playing Sonic right now, but what am I doing? I'm playing God of War Ragnarok because now I got to see how it ends.
So you got FOMO, yeah.
I do.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, you owed CB a game, right? That's the excuse you're using.
That's my excuse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You're just
my
a good
turn.
guy. I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. You had no choice.
Fun fact. His physical copy of God of War Ragnarok came in the mail that same day. He forgot he pre-ordered it. And that's why we gave away 2 games in the month of November.
That's
By
awesome.
the way, congratulations to not Kevin, but Logan Honigford won the copy of God of War Ragnarok on PS5, and Mr. Aaron Peterson won the copy of Sonic Frontiers on Xbox 360, Xbox Series X. So
I was in that
good
live
for
stream,
him.
by the way.
Oh, were you? I did see you. I just forgot to say hi. So
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to comment or not, because I just popped in. That was the first time.
everybody can comment. That's
okay,
what
I was like,
they're
am I
for.
supposed to say hi or just let him talk?
No, everybody should comment.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm happy Aaron will finally play a good game.
Yeah, right.
He bought Gotham Knights even though I told him repeatedly not to, and then he's like, "This game sucks." I'm like, "I know. I told you would hate it.
Yeah.
Why did
Which
you
is
ask
weird
me for
because
advice?"
he always listens to you over me. So I don't
Oh
get that.
no, we've both been on the Hollywood Outsider. Aaron already knows his opinion. He's just hoping one of us backs it up. His mind's already made up.
I hope he's listening. I really hope he's listening. Anyway, Andrew Jack says, I got one recently, and it's my son's favorite console so far. So, I mean, recently he got it, and it's his son's favorite console. So,
Well, if this is all you're giving your son, this is the only option. Of course, it's his favorite.
it's this or the Atari 2600. What's your favorite console? I'm also going to read Troy's comment really quickly. He says, until the Switch was made, this was the best system Nintendo ever made because it was the best of the week and it had all of the bad catalog available to play. I love my Wii U. I remember Troy just proselytizing the Wii U back in the day. He absolutely loved this thing. His son, who was much, much younger at the time, obviously, really loved the Xenoblade games. Was that on Wii U or was that Wii only?
Yeah, they had. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember his son like putting 200 something hours in one or both of those games. So yeah, and he's a huge proponent of the virtual console on there too. He showed me like if you know Troy, which I know you do, Zach, you can imagine how he had his tablet organized on there. Like he had folders for NES games and SNES games, and I think he bought most of the titles. Like it wasn't like he just picked the ones he liked. He bought them all because not all of them, but very, very close to all of them.
Because he's Troy. That makes sense.
Yeah.
No, but the Wii U could play Wii games, right? So you could play Xenoblade that way for sure.
That's true. I actually played Super Mario RPG on the Wii U through the Wii, I think. Or maybe I played it on the Wii. I can't remember, but...
Doesn't matter. Darren Allen writes in. I don't know. Did you have more? I don't.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. Darren Allen writes in, I still have the Zelda Edition console. My daughter loves to draw with a gamepad and sent in a cute little drawing of
It's so adorable.
Girl with a bunch of hearts and it says hi on there.
I didn't remember
That's
you could
adorable.
actually just draw on the tablet like that.
I knew you could, because don't they have the Miiverse thing where you could like share drawings to each other?
But didn't they
That
get
was
in
cool.
trouble because people were like,
Yeah.
Doing what people do?
Yeah.
The same reason Sony had to shut down the Playroom thing like a month into the PS4 being out.
Yeah.
Darren, your daughter has skills.
And
That
plus
is
it's
so cute.
It's the Zelda tablet too. It's the Wind Waker. Love it.
Right. Not that you would know what it looks like for real because you don't open yours.
Well, I had the one that I actually played was also that edition. So yes, I did know what it looked like.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Why
Unless
buy
you wanna-
one when you could buy two?
That was my thing, dude. I bought 2 Xbox Ones at launch. I bought 2 PS4s at launch. I bought 2 Wii U's at launch. And then I wound up like giving the Xbox to my brother, and
Of course.
I just didn't do what I thought I was going to. Which I wonder, like, if I had a boxed Xbox One Day One Edition console, like, would that be valuable now?
Didn't
Would
you
have to be,
lose
right?
money on the PS4 Retro Edition?
Don't get
Classic?
me started on that, dude.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that.
You
I
gotta stop
actually
being
had.
you gotta stop being a nice guy.
I do. Because that thing is worth like 4 digits
Yes.
now.
Yeah,
Ooh.
absolutely.
It was the 500 million edition of the PS4. I happened to be online at like 2 a.m. when the thing went for sale, and I bought it. and for reasons had to return it. And
Sure.
sold it to somebody. He's like, well, I don't want the headphones, and I don't want this and that. I just want the console. So I just wound up giving it to him for face, and he didn't pay the taxes. So yeah. Anyway,
I would lose it on that guy.
Yeah. Alyssa?
Aaron Hughes II writes, did get one eventually, was not able to early on due to limited funds, but I never got rid of it and still played to this day. I started with that Lego City game, don't remember if that's actually its name. Lego City Undercover, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And had a blast, but who can forget Splatoon? Still enjoy this console and use it for my Wii games as well.
Yeah, that was a cool thing, is that you could just drop your Wii games in there, and the Wii remotes would actually work on it too. So, very cool. Over on Discord,
So this is back before you had to pay $18 a month to get backwards compatibility.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. On Discord, Mark Szymanski writes, 2012, I was finishing my master's degree, and my son was already loving first-person shooters, so no. But there are many games that have made the trip to the Switch that I absolutely adore. Mario Kart 8, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Captain Toad. Do I wish I would have? No, I had no time, but I would have totally loved it if I did. I thought that was a unique answer. It's pretty cool. So, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is a game that I regret not playing.
Same.
I played it a little bit, but the difficulty of those games has always like steered me away from them. But I heard that game is just fantastic, and I really needed to try it.
I mean, Donkey Kong Country Returns was really good.
Did Tropical Freeze make it to Switch?
I thought so.
I thought so
I
too.
Is that
feel
what
like
he's
it
saying right
did.
now? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's what he's talking about in the comments. So I do have Captain Toad, because remember I got that like pricing error where I got it for like $4 or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a steal.
Played it for 20 minutes and then promptly never played it again, and I need to go back and remedy that.
I really want to play that game. It looks so fun on the Wii U.
It is. It's very charming. Very charming. Zach?
Oh boy, Tim Thane?
Thane.
Thane.
Tim Thane? Sorry. I bought one after the Switch to play a bunch of games I missed out on. Man, you should have just waited.
Yeah.
True, a lot of those games came to Switch eventually, but I don't regret it, and especially because the 2 Zelda remasters still haven't come to Switch.
Yeah.
I also get to play some Virtual Console titles that I absolutely loved. Metroid Zero Mission and Fusion, Super Mario RPG, and Zelda Minish Cap, just to name a few. Dude, I forgot Wii U Virtual Console GBA games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My God. It might be worth getting one just for that.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I guess the store's shutting down in like February or whatever, but
I mean, you could
Dude.
buy them quickly.
Metroid Zero Mission might still be my favorite Metroid game.
I
I love that game.
replayed that recently. Didn't we do that?
Yeah.
Do a Patreon episode on Metroid?
Dude, yeah, that game's exquisite. Metroid Fusion also great. Yeah, there's some bangers going on. So Minish Cap, of course.
Minish
I was
Cap
about
is
to
like the most underrated Zelda game.
Well, it's funny. I was about to call it underrated, and I was like, wait, no, it's Zelda. None of them are underrated.
But nobody knows what Minish Cap is.
I feel like it's quite beloved.
I feel like it's beloved by the hardcore Zelda.
You're right.
fanatics, but,
You're probably right.
Like I like. What, you play Zelda? Oh yeah, Breath of the Wild. Totally. I love Zelda. I don't mean
Yeah,
that to be like from a hipster mentality. Like, well, you haven't played this one.
No, I wasn't trying to just diminish it. It just feels like maybe I'm the age where I feel like I'm hearing the resurgence talk now for Minish Cap.
Right.
You know, it's been out. I feel like it's the appropriate length of time where everyone's like, "Oh my God, what a legendary masterpiece!"
So, like, what's the rule on emulation? Like, if I own a physical copy of it, like, I'm okay to download an emulated version of that game, right?
I believe that's everyone agreed upon moral value, right?
Like, I don't
I'd
know.
say
Because
so.
because in theory, you could back up the copy yourself and emulate it if you wanted to.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would just rather play that on my PC because I don't even think I have a Game Boy Advance anymore. And, you know, obviously I'm not going to be able to buy it on the Wii U Virtual Console anymore.
Right? You can play it on your Steam Deck.
I got to figure out how to do emulation on my Steam Deck because that'd be great. And
I'm sure you can.
All right. Alyssa, last comment on Twitter is for you.
Just Filthy at Just Filthy Gaming says, I have one still hooked up to play the few games I love that aren't ported to Switch yet. One memory is how one year I put more hours online on Wii U than PS4, mostly in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, once Xenoblade X ported to Switch.
Forgot
What
Mass
the
Effect.
hell is Mass Effect 3 doing on the Wii U?
Didn't remember.
I forgot that it was on there, but now I remember that was the only Mass Effect I think that was released on Wii U.
I can see it now at our GameStop's display area in my mind's eye. But who would buy? No offense, Just Filthy Gaming. But that's not where you should play Mass Effect 3 the first time, right? You can't even import your saves. Did they have like a comic for Mass Effect 2 like they did for Mass Effect 1?
That's a good point.
That's really...
Well, I mean, how
weird.
did the multiplayer work? Was it multiplayer like co-op story stuff, or was the multiplayer like a competitive thing?
It was like a horde mode thing.
Okay, so you could do that without like needing to worry about.
No, absolutely. I'm just saying, if I was EA, I don't really know if I would be able to identify there being a market for Mass Effect 3 on Wii U.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Just what a weird choice. Xenoblade Chronicles X, yeah, get that bad boy on Switch. It's the only one that's not on there.
All right. Well, Zach, thank you so much for putting together all those details about the Wii U. I thought that was a fun topic. Are you available? Are you going to be coming back next week?
Sure, talk about NPC chatter.
Yes. Okay. I just wanted to say that before I said for sure what the topic was going to be, because I wanted to make sure you were there. Zach wants to talk about how often we use or how we feel about NPCs that give you hints in
we'll
games.
fine tune what the topic. It was something about hand holdiness in games or something like that.
Yeah,
but
because it definitely is a thing in God of War Ragnarok.
Inspired by everyone talking about how God of War's NPCs give you the solution as soon as you show up.
I don't have a problem with that there, because sometimes I'm just staring at this thing going, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, but see, like, I'm somebody that, like from a Tomb Raider background, I love the puzzles. And Tomb Raider solved this problem already, but we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, you're right. I will say that the difference here with this is that these puzzles aren't elaborate puzzles like they are in Tomb Raider. You know what I mean? These are just simple for me to move from here to get to the next ledge. That's it.
Or, I mean, even, again, we could talk about it next week.
Yeah. But anyway.
Uncharted, anyway, yes. Anyway.
So that's going to be our
I've
topic
got
next
thoughts.
week. We're going to talk about NPCs handholding and just how often we use in-game cheats. I mean, kind of Alyssa alluded to it with a little to the left earlier, how the game just kind of basically gives you the solution. So we're going to talk about how much we use that. So stay tuned for that next week. I will put it up on the socials, probably on Friday, or maybe, because I don't want to do it on Thanksgiving, but I'll have the topic up there. But that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thank you so much for listening. We do appreciate it. Would like to remind you that The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all of the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemmagemusic.com. Please be sure to check. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, before we get out of here, thank you so much for joining me. Do you have any parting words or recommendations for everybody?
Titans is back. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but season 4 is starting, and it's great. Which also season 3 started great. But Titans is a show famously that in the first 2 seasons I could tell was pretty bad, but I loved it anyway. But season 3 started genuinely great, and then kind of went off the rails. But this season seems very strong if you're into superhero shows at all. The Teen Titans are kind of delving into the occult world, and they do some. Lex Luthor shows up in this season, and it's a pretty bold take on Lex Luthor, I would say.
All right.
So, if you're into that.
What platform is that on?
It's a HBO Max show.
HBO Max. All right. Very cool. Alyssa, how about you?
I watched Smile this week, which I know it's been out in theaters for a bit. I think it's still playing in most theaters, actually. I expected this to be kind of cheesy just from watching the trailers, because it kind of reminded me of the movie Truth or Dare with the Snapchat-looking smiles. So I'm like, I'll just watch this because I wasn't feeling well over the weekend. And I watched it with my dad. And this movie is so much more unnerving and creepy than I thought it would be. It's actually genuinely scary, and now I'm afraid that I'm going to see smiling people just pop up in a room now. Even my dad was like, this is creepy, and he's not affected by horror movies.
Now, I haven't seen it, and hopefully you can answer this without being vague, but I hear that there's lots of question marks about how that movie ends.
It does have a somewhat I will say it does have a definitive ending, but it also leaves things open.
Okay. I need to check it out. It's on Paramount Plus, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I rented it off Amazon.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I do want to check it out. I think the premise looks genuinely creepy.
I think it's coming to Paramount Plus because there's originally supposed to be a streaming movie.
I see. Okay.
At the last second, they decided to put it in theaters and then made $200 million. So, guess that was the right call.
Yeah. They marketed it pretty well. That trailer was pretty effective.
This really reminds me I need to watch Barbarian, by the way.
That one's also really good.
Yeah, another horror movie.
Oh, okay. Let's see. For me, my audiobook subscription this month, I purchased the Cliff Bleszinski memoir. So I was out of books to read, so I decided to go back to the well and reread one. And it's kind of an interesting experiment because I went back and reread Ready Player One by Ernest Scott Cline. And this is the first time that I read it since I originally read it years before the movie came out. So in my mind, Ready Player One has been the movie for so long, and going back and listening to the book again, I am fascinated by how much better the story is in the book. I know that's kind of like what everybody says about the book, so I know it's a little cliche to say so, but if you like the movie, I encourage you to read the book or do the audiobook, which is done by Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton. And it's quite good. I'm listening to this and just, it's a lot darker than the movie was, and you know the challenges that they had to do in the movie just seemed so, I don't know, sillier. It just felt more 80s centric in the book, what they did, and there was a good mixture of video games and music, pop culture, and film. Like it was all 80s, not just video games, and I just thought it was a little more clever.
What if you hated the movie?
If you hated the movie, what did you hate about the movie?
Mostly the VR race stuff.
I mean, that was more spectacle in the movie. That race never happens in the book. So
it never does.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, and I didn't remember that. In my mind, that I don't know how I didn't remember that, but that never took place. The whole race thing just never happened. And they kind of leaned into the
Does the book stop like the movie does to be like, hey, look, it's this recognizable character you enjoyed from other things?
No. Well, it does, but not like in the way that it does in the movie. I mean, it's basically a love letter to the 1980s. Like everything is. I mean, there's literally a challenge where the main character has to, recite an entire movie from the 80s, word for word, like from memory as a challenge. Like he's actually a character in the movie. You know what I mean?
That already sounds more interesting than any of the challenges in the movie.
They're just so much more interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really clever. And I didn't like the second book as much, but I think I'm going to go right back into the second one again now that I've read the book so much more recently instead of just the movie. So, just never know that's actually a really quality audiobook, especially with Will Wheaton doing it. I just kind of associate his voice with Ernest Cline's writing voice now, because those are the only three books, all three books that I've listened to were all narrated by Will Wheaton. So that's just like his voice to me now. But anyway, I would recommend going and giving it another shot. It's been so long, and I think a lot of people might be like me and just associate Ready Player One more as the movie. And I just really think that the book is done a lot better, especially the characterization and Artemis and Parzival's relationship just seems to be less forced than it was in the movie.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So, but it still felt genuine. Anyway, Ready Player One, Ernest Cline, highly recommend it. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We do appreciate it. And if this is your first time here, we're so glad that you have joined the Gaming Outsider. Please check us out and share with your friends. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson, and Alyssa White, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.